current events, injustice, police brutality, systematic racism, politics. What say ye? Enough said.
Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to Enough Said with Gemmo, Carolite, and cherripoet. Carolite, what say ye?
Yes, I want to continue about the All Life Matter slogan. And why it's a bit upsetting is this. There's been always a pattern to change the narrative whenever we are dealing with Black lives or whenever we are dealing with racism against Black. There's always this pattern to change the narrative. And what you're hearing now is all life matter, blue life matter, somebody says Turtle life matter, you know. Yeah, somebody did, Turtle life. And I'm like, listen, if something is not an endangered species, we don't have to say their life matter, because obviously if you're not endangered, your life, if your life is not endangered, your life matters. So that's an obvious, that's a given.
That's
you talk about people whose life is endangered, and all life matter and Black life matters, I'm sorry, refers to Black people in America whose life are endangered, whether it's with policing, whether it's any different form of racism. Today now we have 4 hangings, 4.
Before we get to that,
yeah, we had lynching.
Before we get to that,
just a minute. I'm just saying, I'm not going off topic. I am just saying, if you have lynchings before and now you're bringing back lynchings, Black people life are endangered. And this is the reason why you make the statement, Black life matter. As you correctly said, Jem, Black life cannot matter. All life cannot matter if you don't include Black life matter.
Right. And let me just say, you just made a very good comment. So that means Black men are endangered species. That's how I get from that. Second of all, and I'm not going off the subject, Blue Lives Matter is a misnomer. Blue is just a shirt that they're wearing. Blue people, blue lives are police officers. Police officers are either Black, white, Asian, or of some race. So Blue Lives Matter, you need to stop saying that, guys. It's just to annoy people. Because if you're trying to say police officers' lives matter, we know that. They're not being brutalized. They're not being targeted for racism. Stop the Blue Lives Matter. It's a misnomer.
Real quickly, nobody have yet launched an attack on cops. You don't see any group going around killing cops. So until that happens, then you can include Blue Life Matter.
Well, it's not a life. Blue is not a life. Blue is not a person. Black is a person. White is a person. Asian, Hispanics. Blue is not a person. Cops are.
It's a color.
Hey, you know, hey, cops, they bring on the hate on themselves. You know, I remember when my brother went out to be a cop, and he took the training and all that stuff. And I said, look, man, you know, you want to be something, go be a fireman. Because we don't dig cops. You know what I'm saying? The history of hip hop music, from the beginning of hip hop music, they've been screaming, F the cops. You know what I mean? Why is that? Why is that? You know what I mean? Reggae music, every kind of music talks about how cops are, especially to Black people. So, hey, you know, I could care less about blue life being mattering. You know, that's not my concern. My concern is staying alive, because I'm not trying to kill the cop. The cop is trying to kill me. That's just the way I see it. So
let me make a disclaimer, though. We're not saying we don't like cops. They're good cops and we like them. So generally speaking, I agree with everything you say, except that they're good police officers, and those police officers we do love.
Yeah, we love the ones we know. We love the ones we know that we can have conversations with. But on a whole, you know what I mean? We have a problem with cops because of how they are. They brought the hate on themselves. So, hey, you know what I mean? And don't act surprised and don't act like people should love you when you're out there brutalizing people. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. And it's the chronic thing where you want to behave badly. You want to behave badly to where the collective majority will sit back and allow a group of cops, or the few, if they want to say it's the few, I want to say the majority sit back and allow the few to brutalize and kill Black people. And now you want us to go Blue Lives Matter when your life is not endangered. Black life is the one that matters because you are killing us. It's their behavior.
Blue Lives
Park in California.
Wow.
So now they have started the lynching. Every time Black people start gaining a little bit of rights, President Trump, you know, he signed away on a little bit of something.
I wanted to talk about that as well.
And then now let's kill them secretly. Now they're lynching these men, hanging them secretly. Now there's no video camera to catch who is doing this now. So now the FBI have to get involved.
The hate is real.
Their lie is that these men are just all of a sudden Black men are hanging themselves.
The hate is real. The hate is real. I hope they catch those people because they're great white people, but you're some evil ones. As soon as you start fighting for your rights, why is it they take it as if you're taking something away from them? We just want equality. We don't want revenge. We don't want to take nothing away from you. We just want equality and be treated with respect. That's all.
They think the land
belongs to them. My thinking on the whole thing is this. It's, you know, it's like, you can't go into a war and not have casualties. You know what I mean? We already know the history of America. We know that when the slaves were emancipated and so-called freed, you know, it was after that it became worse for slaves. The ones that tried to build their homes, buy farms,
to live, just to live.
Property. What did the white man do? The white man just said, you're free. And so what did the white man do? The white man then went into these Black lands, burnt it down, and told them to go back to your slave master or die. You know what I mean? So when you see, you know, you talk about Black people gaining a little, you know, help from the marches and from protesters across the world and from everything, you know, the president making an executive order and all these little things that seem like something. Of course, you're going to expect that more Black people are going to die. Of course, you're going to expect hangings now because that's just how they are.
You know I don't expect it.
They're going to give you something, but they're going to make you pay for it.
And this is why today I do honestly believe that Black people should go and get their guns. They should get themselves armed because they're going to attack them unaware in the night, outside of camera now, because they saw what happened with George Floyd. They realize now that a white man can be prosecuted if he's caught on camera. So now they're gonna take it off camera.
So therefore you're saying you're saying then that we should be careful too. No, listen.
We have to start bearing arms. We have to.
Listen, guys.
It just take one racist guy who is upset with Donald Trump's order to see me walking down the street and decide he wants to lynch me.
Listen, guys, just be careful. But let me just say that, you know, that order that the president signed is barely enough to pacify you. He did not outlaw chokeholds. He did not. All he did is say, let's have a national database of police misconduct. What is a database going to do? You know, we need, it's just something to appease. Don't fall for it, Black folks. Don't fall for it. White folks are on our side. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a lot more than that.
Yeah, he's still left in the clause. Similar things like probable cause. He left in unless they fear unless they feel their life is in danger. Well, what has the cops been telling you all the time when they're killing the black man?
Your life is in danger.
We thought our life was in danger. The black man arm is up in the air, and we thought he was gonna use his arm as a weapon. We thought so signing that thing and still leaving in unless you think your life is in danger. You really haven't helped us in that case. You really haven't. They're gonna say their life is in danger. They're not gonna stop choking us to death.
Right.
And now they're stepping it up now. They're lynching us again. Oh my God, I didn't know I could live to see this.
And they're trying to say
what did you think the chokehold was? Modern day lynching.
Yes,
you know what I mean? What did you think the knee on the neck was? Modern day lynching. It's just a new style, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now they're trying to say it's suicide. Now, really, Black people do commit suicide, but not half as much. The Black person is not going to go out in a tree and hang themselves. It just doesn't work that way. Please, FBI, investigate.
That's not a Black crime. Come on, give us come with something else. And the way the cops, this brings me to a different subject as the way they lie. And I really think that there need to be also some laws about this. Just like how you can say they perjured themselves in court, there need to be a law about lying to get off to get off a criminal act. They need to, because that's all they do.
Just like the milk thing in New York. You remember? I just talk about that, cherripoet.
Yeah, you know, first Caroline sent it to me. You know, the cops were poisoned through milkshakes or something like that in New York, and so I Googled it right away because you know you always got to verify this information.
Right.
Turns out, you know, it's all a lie. You know what I mean?
And I say cops lie, really? Duh.
Apparently they got sick. Apparently they, you know, 3 of the cops or something like that got sick after having the milkshakes. But, you know, think about it. This is probably a place they go to all the time. You know what I mean? And for the union
get sick from milkshake if the milk is not good.
For the union to come out and make it public, you know, they were poisoned by bleach in their stuff without having confirmation is really sad. You know
trying to change the narrative, trying to change the focus, trying to make Black people seem like, because it's amazing to me now.
It could be paranoia too. They probably feel like everyone is against them.
Exactly. But look at this. 50 Black men killed by cops. And God forbid one cop get poisoned and all of a sudden you begin lynching Black men again. So they always try to change the narrative, similar to protesting about George Floyd murder. A couple rioters compared to the majority of peaceful protesters, but all of a sudden the narrative changed to the rioters and to the looters. And you did not at the time hear anything serious or strong about cops killing Black men.
Yeah.
So every
bring the focus back on themselves. Bring the focus back on themselves. Now, I understand that cops are quitting all over the United States in droves. Think about that.
I don't miss one of them. Go home. If you cannot police, if you are overly stressed, if you are so stressed that you see a man sleeping in a Wendy's line, and you cannot just say to the man, okay, call somebody to give you a ride home because you're either overly tired or you're drunk, and you're so stressed that you can't handle policing, you need to quit the force.
And you know, some of them may be quitting too because they don't like the ugly. You know, they don't like the ugly and they don't want to be charged because of what other people do. So it could be that too. The good cops just want to roll out because they can't handle this. You know, everybody's looking at them crazy.
I think it's bad cops. I think it's bad cops who want to quit because they're racist and they can no longer perpetuate their racist behavior. They're being held accountable, and they thought that they were given a license to killed by joining the police force, and now they are upset that we are now taking that right, some of that power away from them.
All right, well, just give their jobs to the black thugs, quote unquote thugs that you've been killing. Give them a job, pay them the 40,000 that they used to get. Give them all the benefits and let them go police each other. Go ahead. Let them
Absolutely.
Exactly. I believe that. I totally believe that. Give it to the average person and they'll do a much better job.
I think so.
They will do a much better job.
One other subject I wanted to bring up was Colin Kaepernick. Goodell, who is the head of the NFL, said that he believed a team should sign Colin Kaepernick. What do you think about that? Too much, too late?
You know, it's as far as I'm concerned, I would never want to take the job back. However, I don't know how Colin feels. You know, maybe he really wants to play. Maybe that's his love. You know what I'm saying? But if it was me and you took my job away because of something like that, I would never go back.
Well, never say never. This is the thing. Let's see
no,
how much
I'm
they're
serious.
offering. I'm telling you how you should reason. See how much they're offering and offer it to him. That's how I am. Let him refuse it. But let's see how much.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Let's see how much.
Here's the thing. In a game like sports, you know what I mean? Everybody has their time. And a lot of his good years, body-wise, health-wise, age-wise, was taken away from him. So I'm not saying that he wouldn't come back. And of course, the whole anger and frustration and everything he's been through is probably going to bring him back on a up, you know, but how long will it last?
It doesn't matter. I think they should his youth. For all those
the years when he would have been great for the NFL, they took that from him.
Well, that's what they should compensate him for. Bring him back, compensate him for that. And if he only want to play for a day, that's what I would do. Play for a week and say, to hell with it, guys, pay me. But as long as he gets paid for all that heartache that he went through. And go ahead, Caroline.
And what I say is, after he has been offered those jobs, then talk to me. I don't want to hear anything you have to say before. Offer him the position, let me know, leave the ball in his court. He can either accept or he's refused. Don't come and tell me that a team should. Tell me that a team has for him. In fact, tell me that every team in the NFL has offered him a position, and then leave it up to him. You see, another problem with racism, you know, they never right their wrong. And that leaves Black people feeling so deflated. Right your wrong. Every team in the NFL offer him a position and leave it up to him as to whether he wants to or he doesn't want to. Don't tell me that you should, because you did not think about, should I fire him or not?
Agreed.
You fired
100%. 100%.
So offered him his job back and let him decide.
And as it turned out, guys, enough said about that, for real. Yeah. And as it turned out, kneeling for when the anthem at the flag is not a crime. Wearing the flag as clothes, doing all kind of ornaments with the flag is a disgrace to the flag, but kneeling is not. So all this hullabaloo, much ado about nothing, as Shakespeare would say.
No, it is about something, Jem. They wanted to change the narrative as well. Everybody knew that guy was kneeling against police brutality towards Black people. They knew exactly why he was kneeling. But in order now to enforce their agenda, now they made kneeling to be disrespect to the flag. Now look at that. Disrespect to the flag versus police brutality. And you spend more time talking about disrespect to the flag when the original reason why the lives are at stake is because, and when lives are at stake. So they always change the narrative when it comes to Black lives. Had that been white lives, that Kaepernick was kneeling for, then we would have a totally different reaction to his kneeling.
I agree. Cherry?
Yeah, you know, it just got me, the conversation got me thinking about these lyrics. Black lives matter, matters a heap, says black families losing priceless sons and daughters over matters that's minor. They don't want some misdemeanor. They don't want a rival with hands up as the demeanor. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Black
exactly.
lives matter, people. Black lives matter to us.
But I don't need to tell them.
And like Gemmo said, black lives, all lives, only matters when black lives matters too.
And I want to bring up the dog.
Yes.
Because America love their dogs.
Yes.
And if a dog was barking and cops went around shooting the dogs who are barking for noise abatement because the dogs are violating, and the cops go around shooting dogs, the whole, when I tell you, the entire America,
pandemonium,
would be enraged against the cops for shooting their dogs. The entire America would never say the dogs are wrong for barking and violating noise abatement.
That's exactly
so if you can do that to your dog, how you don't understand it when they kill a black man? Why isn't the entire America enraged about the cops killing black men?
Well, let me say
if it was
this.
your dog, you would have been enraged, right? So in other
entire
words,
America, Carol, you're asking a question you already know the answer to. The entire America is not going to be enraged because the entire America includes many people who grew up racist, who don't understand what the big deal is, who cannot put themselves in your shoes or our shoes because it does not happen to them. You know, it sounds like I'm going to take this off a little bit, but, you know, I was watching this thing, a documentary one time on heroin, and they were saying how heroin was one of those things that affected the black people. And so they said white people didn't care about it. You know, they thought black people just on drugs, that's them, you know what I mean, whatever. But then it came to Massachusetts. And what they were finding was that all these white people who lived in really nice neighborhoods in Massachusetts were finding out that their kids were partying and getting high off this thing called heroin. And once it affected them, that's when all hell broke loose. Oh no, heroin is this thing. We need to do something about it. It has to affect them, you know? Black Lives Matter does not affect them. It's not them. It's not them losing their kids. They don't get it. They don't care until it reaches them. So you already know the answer to that.
But let me just say,
you cannot expect all of America to care because it's not happy. It's not relevant to them.
Now there is, I have to make a disclaimer here because there's a lot. I agree with you 100%, except that there's a lot of white people who are fighting the fight for us, and a lot of young white people. So when we say them, just make sure a disclaimer is we're talking in general. It's a generalization. We are many exceptions to the rule. And I always, over and over again, thank the white folks who are helping us. We appreciate it. Thank you. Caroline.
They're not the ones who caused them to kill us. They're the ones killing us. For example, the guy ran away from the cops. He didn't cause the cops. He did not.
Any threat was removed when he ran away.
Right. The cop killed him. The cop could have allowed him to go and found him at a later date if they wanted to arrest him for that thing.
And guys, when Mr. Rayshard Brooks was being arrested after a 50-minute or almost an hour's interrogation and breathalyzer and harassment, walk a line, jump to the moon, jump over a cliff, smell, go left down, harassing. After that, after seeing George Floyd and what happened to him, do you really think a black man wants anybody to put them in handcuffs so they can step on their neck? He wanted to get away.
No, he feared for his life the moment you heard him say, I got kids at home. My daughter just celebrated her second birthday yesterday. He's trying to tell them, I'm human, I'm a dad. You know what I mean? He was fearing for his life in that moment.
Yes,
exactly. What I mean? And you're right about harassing, because they started off, okay, so you're giving him a test, walk here, lift your foot, whatever. You know what I mean?
Oh my God!
But
jump over this rope.
1 hour? Really?
Almost an hour.
Oh, it became harassment after the first 10 minutes.
And the last thing we want to talk about, Carolite, is you said about going into the background of people who are being detained, pulling up their
people who are killed by cops. For example, in Brooks' case, they did not see him driving the car. They saw him asleep. They told him to move the car over in the parking lot. They did not stop him for drinking and driving. Now, are they allowed to use a history? Say he had a history of DUI. Are they allowed to use that in the current situation?
Even if they saw him drinking and driving, they're not allowed to stop people. It's not just that. You're not allowed to pull somebody over and use their history to try to detain them. You have to see a current crime happening. Now, in court, the judges will use history to get sentencing. And, you have all heard, and we only have 10 minutes left, but you all heard of the 3 strikes. They use it in court. This is way down the line after you have an arrest and you go to court. But the police officers are not supposed to use it. And the only thing they're supposed to act on is if there's an open warrant for your arrest. Then they can detain you. You have to have something.
Have no business using the man's history in this situation to make a current arrest. Correct.
That's
so
right.
But is it the police bringing up history, or is it the media? You got to see the role the media plays in this also, because that's the first thing they do. Every time a black person gets killed, the first thing they do is tell you, 2 days ago he did this and did that and the other, and they tell you all this history that has nothing to do. The guy's sitting on the porch eating ice cream right now and gets killed by a cop, and you're talking about what he did yesterday. Really?
I call it victim blaming. Blaming the
media
victim.
plays a huge role into that.
Yeah, but before we get, it's both. Before you get to the media, the police are running these people and bringing up their criminal history. It's very easy to do, by the way. I can run and bring up somebody's criminal history just by their name and date of birth. And then after that, the media, when they hear the story, is also jumping on the victim blaming thing. They did that for George Floyd. George Floyd, and let me tell you something, guys. It's unfortunate, but a lot of black men are arrested for no reason, good reason, bad reason, no reason at all in this country. So stop bringing up their history. In other countries in Europe, there are countries in Europe where after you serve your time, your record is erased. You are no longer a criminal after you serve your time.
For example, they're bringing up the fact that he beat his kids. Every black person beat their kids, but America has deemed that criminal. They've deemed it that it's abuse. Well, for me as a black person, that is not an abuse. So again, what Malcolm X says.
Wait, before you get to Malcolm X, disclaimer, every black person doesn't beat their kids. I know a lot that don't. So we're talking in generalization again. Go ahead.
Right. I mean,
and they're the ones with the kids that curse at them and talk to them like they ain't crap.
No. I know kids.
They don't want to hit them. They don't want to.
My friend was a lawyer who never got beaten, and she turned out fine. She's a lawyer. Her brother's
the collective most, right? Beat their kids. They have now made it a law that we cannot hit our kids, and they call that abuse. So my point is, when a law is against your culture, when a law dehumanizes you, you have to still act like a human. And
just like when they beat you and you move and you wrestle and you turn around or you talk to the cops in a way, they dehumanize the black man, saying that they can't answer to the cops, they can't turn around, they're resisting arrest.
They used to choke the black man and tell him, do not resist arrest. When somebody's choking you, you have to move.
Or beating
and as you're moving to get some air, they say, do not resist arrest. So their game in dehumanizing the Black people has been so ridiculous.
Needs to be exposed. Needs to be exposed. You hit somebody, they move. I saw a young lady, they hit her, she moved, she reacted to beating. You're resisting arrest. You're fighting the cops. This resisting arrest gotta go.
They're resisting. They beat them, and as they're trying to get away from the whipping, they say they're resisting arrest.
Exactly.
What's the foolishness of that? You know?
Yep.
And and I just wanted to say before it will act, why did he run? Like you said, after you see what cops are doing to Black men, there's one that got killed. After they put him in the back, they broke his spine, they choked him. And
Freddie Gray in Baltimore, Freddie Gray in Baltimore, crackling. Yeah, let me just say, resisting arrest, don't talk back to the cops. It's all a police ploy to dehumanize Black people. Yeah, the police brutality is rampant. They're very angry people. They're angrier than the Black people they're arresting most of the time. You can see how George Floyd was cooperative, how Mr. Brooks was cooperative, and how Gordon in New Jersey, Maurice Gordon, was cooperative, and they always end up with some. Now we're seeing the cops are the ones with the brutality and the aggression and the anger. They need anger management. What say you, Jerry?
They don't need no anger management. They need to stop. Stop. I don't want your money. You need to stop. That's all they need. Stop. I've heard before when I ask somebody in church, how do I change whatever? Stop. And you start doing opposite what you've been doing. That's all. Stop. If you don't shoot, if you just don't draw your weapon and shoot the man, he will not be dead. Stop. How is it that they don't beat their superiors when their superiors upset them? These people know how to act. They act on the vulnerable when they think they can get away with it. And that's my final.
No, well, let me just say 3 things before we wrap up. Father's Day is this Sunday, June 21st. So I feel sorry for George Floyd, Maurice Gordon, and now Mr. Brown and Mr. Brooks. Mr. Brooks, their children will not have a father to celebrate for this Father's Day. So
and about 100 others since Trayvon Martin, and maybe 250 since Rodney King.
Well, I think Trayvon Martin was not a father because he was so young, and some of them were so young. But all the kids who don't have a father, including me, whose father passed away. And the last thing is the boycott alert. July 4th through July 7th, we should boycott all businesses. If you don't know the details of it, Google it. July 4th to July 7th.
Boycott white businesses, support Black businesses. Support Black businesses on Juneteenth. Go out. If you're going to spend your money, support Black businesses. It is important. Speaking of kids who no longer have their fathers with them, all the ones killed by police, like Gemmo said. And I just want to send a big rest in peace out to my nephew, Shane.
Rest in peace, Shane. My son, Shane. God bless him.
Rest in peace,
He's also a father.
Yeah, he left a son behind, and I feel it for his son right now. I know it's going to be so sad on Father's Day. Rest in peace, Shaney.
My heart goes out to you. Love you.
Take care of your son, Shane. We're going to look out for your son while you're looking down on us. So, with that said, thank you all for tuning in. Caro, what say you?
I just want to say, we have so many other things that can take our life. We struggle with diabetes, high blood pressure, they say, in high numbers, now COVID. Now, there's so many other things that's taking Black people's life in disproportionate rates. We don't need the cops to help us out, help it out.
Agreed.
We are dying from too many other things, and there's also even Black and Black crime. So we don't need no white cop. We don't need any cop to help take our lives.
Let's just say rest in peace, Shane. I agree with you, Carol. And I guess it's cherripoet. Enough said.
Enough said. Thank you all for tuning in to Enough Said. We're going to be back talking about some more stuff. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. I want you to stay tuned. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and all that good stuff. Like
current events, injustice, police brutality, systematic racism, politics. What say ye? Enough said.